Yo, what is up guys? Delboy here. I've been paying close attention to the build-up of Sergey Kovalev versus Anthony Yarde. We are in fight week now. I'm very excited and we've now had a glimpse of both fighters on fight week. Both guys have done interviews with BT Sport, but I wanted to touch on Sergey Kovalev's interview with BT Sport. And listen, I've got to say, he sounds extremely confident going into this fight. He looks relaxed, he looks healthy, and he looks in a good place. He looks supremely confident, you know. Maybe that's because he's had a good preparation, maybe it's because he doesn't really rate Anthony Yarde, or maybe it's just hometown surroundings, you know. Kovalev's fighting in his hometown, maybe he's just extremely comfortable because of that. But he done an interview with, I believe, Steve Bunce, and he had his say on Anthony Yarde. Basically, he said he can say everything he wants, but say and do are two different things. He will pay for everything he posted and said. He's just a kid. He's not a lion. He is just a little kitten. He also said he would show Anthony Yarde who is boss. And yeah, Kovalev in this interview came across very confident, very relaxed, very calm. And like I said, he appeared to be in a really good place. And he looked quite healthy, in my opinion. I felt he looked quite good on fight week. Now, obviously, he's been paying close attention to what Team Yarde have been saying in the build-up to this fight. And, you know, he's taken that on board, but it appears that he's not let that get to him. He's not agitated, he's not moody, he's not mad, he's calm, he's taken it on board, and he just wants to get to the ring to fight. I am pleased that I've seen that mindset from Kovalev early on in fight week. I think in the past, people have got into Sergey Kovalev's head, mainly Andre Ward in both fights. I felt he did a good job of, you know, planting doubt in Kovalev's mind. He did a good job of riling Kovalev up and making him mad in the build-up. It really got personal, that fight, and that was really engineered by Andre Ward. And I don't believe Kovalev dealt with that very well, to be quite honest. I think that hampered his performance, preparation, and yeah, Andre Ward, from that perspective, no matter what you thought of the two fights, I actually felt he played a masterstroke when it came to the mental game of Sergey Kovalev. And when this fight was first made, when it was first talked about, I wondered if that was an area Team Yarde would try to go down. I wondered if they would try to unsettle Kovalev or try to rile him up, make him angry, etc. And while Team Yarde have, you know, made a few digs about Kovalev here and there, while they have been a little bit dismissive, Kovalev is just taking it on board like water off a duck's back, and he seems to be about his business in the build-up to this fight, and that's a good thing. I do believe Kovalev is the type of character who can get emotionally involved in fights. We saw that in the two Andre Ward fights. We saw that even in the two Pascal fights. Now, in the Pascal fights, you know, it went his way and he won both fights clearly, but, you know, he was responding to Pascal's provocation and his insults, his trash talk, and it certainly got to Kovalev to some degree, but, you know, he got the results on that night. I prefer this calmer, more composed Kovalev, especially going into this fight. And that actually lends into it stylistically because, you know, a calm, composed Kovalev, the one we saw against Elidia Alvarez, I believe is all wrong for Anthony Yarde. Even if Kovalev is more gung-ho, I still would favour him to beat Yarde. But for Kovalev, who boxed on the move, maintained range, was active with the jab, and who stuck to the basics, I believe that version of Kovalev is just all wrong for Anthony Yarde, and that version of Kovalev would narrow down Anthony Yarde's chances of winning even more. And that style of fighting does take discipline. It, you know, does take a lot of concentration, and if you go into a fight riled up and angry, you know, it may be tough to stick to that type of game plan, especially with a personality like Sergey Kovalev's. So I'm pleased to see he's got his head screwed on. I'm encouraged to see that he's relaxed and calm, and that lends me to believe he will try to box a disciplined fight, much like his performance against Elidia Alvarez. As for Anthony Yarde, I also saw his interview as he landed in Russia. Again, he seems very jovial, very calm, very confident, and he seems happy to be there. You know, he seems confident in his own right. I really am looking forward to this fight. Everything tells me Kovalev wins this fight, and I believe he should win it well, but there's a level of intrigue here. We just don't know how good Anthony Yarde is. Like I said in an earlier video, he could be a complete hype job, he could be boxing's best kept secret and the real deal, or he could be somewhere in between. It really is hard to tell. Now, we may have a certain idea of how good Yarde is, but ultimately, until he steps up, we truly don't know. Yes, we can pick at technical deficiencies that we've seen in his lower level fights, but sometimes when a fighter steps up, he will find that next level that you've not seen before. Maybe that's the case with Anthony Yarde. I somehow doubt it, but I'm very interested to watch this fight. And yeah, usually I've got to say I wouldn't make these type of videos, but you know, I'm really hyped for this fight, and I believe, you know, this one's going under the radar. I think it's a really good fight, and it's a shame people are not more interested, to be quite honest. That's why I'm making a few videos about this fight. I think this will be my last video on this fight until my post-fight review. But yeah, there we go. Share your thoughts below. Tell me how you feel about this fight. Are your opinions changing as we get closer to this fight? Or do you still feel Kovalev is a strong favourite and that he should win decisively? I'm intrigued to hear your thoughts. Peace.